Welcome back to Life Design Diaries. Sometimes it's hard to translate the lessons from someone else's story to yourself. How can I learn from that? And what can I do now with that knowledge? As a habit, Lucy and I discuss these questions after every interview, and now we decided to record these discussions and share them with you for your benefit. This is Life Design Diaries Distilled. Okay, so we've just got back from our awesome interview with Jenna from the Gypsy Shrine. First of all, if you haven't listened to it, it's the last episode, so go and listen to it now. It's the full interview with her. Some incredible growth from a 26-year-old in just 3 years, not even 3 years yet, and it's just unbelievable. So what a story.
Really, really cool story. It's definitely one for the not predominantly, but it's definitely one for the girls. I really enjoyed. Yeah. And the guys. So, I mean, Luce, you were there as well. You got a whole book there full of notes. Yeah, I sat quietly in the background as I've got a big interview next week, so I wanted to come and listen in and watch how Rossi prepped everything and that.
So what did you take from it? What's one of the things that you took from that?
Okay, well, I mean, I just have to say she's massively inspiring, and when you listen through, she kind of says about how she needs to keep herself positive and inspired and stuff to keep going, because the minute she loses that self-belief, then the business suffers. So I hope that the podcast itself almost is a source of inspiration for her, because I really do feel like it was incredibly inspiring, the story and how she thinks and what how she's grown the business. I just think it's fantastic. So that's kind of how I feel coming away from it. I feel particularly inspired and pumped, and
absolutely. I
think for me, one of the biggest things that she talked about is her. I'm sure I've said a similar thing before. It's like having the vision or being able to see where you want to take something, not necessarily being able to articulate it, but you just have a sort of a feeling. And I really enjoyed that she wants to keep the business almost that grassroots, humble, I'm doing it for the girls that buy the product, not like a big sellout. I just like this sort of considered route that she's going down. I thought that was really, really good, and will only continue to grow the business in a way of substance rather than sellout. So I thought that was really, really good. But then how she keeps doing that and how she keeps putting one foot in front of the other was really interesting.
Because a lot of it seems to be off like gut feeling, doesn't it? She kind of said herself, I mean, it sounds like she's had a lot of validation with okay, people liked it or they like this, and so she kind of goes towards it. So that's kind of like that analytical mindset. But actually the decision she's made seem to be driven off of emotion. She kind of and gut feel. She just feels that it's right. She feels there's an opportunity. She smelt an opportunity to get in front of Warner Brothers. She had the vision to get into Topshop. That didn't come because it was kind of like, she didn't send out a survey or do some real deep analytical work to get there. It was just kind of her. And I think that comes through in the decisions that the brand has made and what the kind of brand has become. Yeah,
definitely. She mentions about taking the time to be the answer to people's question. And I think that sort of bleeds through into every aspect. So whether she's the answer to a buyer's question, from Topshop or from Maybelline, or she's the answer to someone at a festival or someone that's dressing.
What do you mean she's the answer?
She is going to these people with an answer to their question, and the solution is her mentality, her brand, her product. So this is a sweeping assumption. We didn't discuss this, but for example, Maybelline might want to get into a younger audience, or they want to sort of breathe life back into a particular product. So she's taken that and sold that into Maybelline. I don't actually know whether that's how it went, but just the gist of how she goes about her business, I think is just, it's just like there's a fundamental basic principle, or I guess it's the value set of her and the business. It's staying true to that and and just being the answer. I really liked when she said that, we are the answer to the question.
Yeah.
So she talked about it, and the solution was that the glitter made a mess when you take it off, and it's not very eco-friendly. So they've changed to biodegradable glitter and have created the glue. So I just, it's so easy to get caught up in this and that, but if you just bring it back down to the basic principle of what is the answer to someone's question or problem, what's the solution, then you're onto a winner then, aren't you? And I think how she was saying that she takes the time, really takes the time to create something that shows the solution. So you're going to that person with that sort of substance, not firing off a few emails saying you should meet me. I've definitely fallen foul of that.
Yeah.
But actually she's researched a company, put a big beautiful pitch together, and then what's the result? She's got in front of her number one goal, which was to be a concession in Topshop.
Totally agree. For me, it's the perfect example of the podcast that we've done previously when we're talking about how to outreach. I think we called it outreach like a pro or something, because she's not just reached out to someone and said, here I am, this is what I do. She's completely took a step back with her team and thought about what would be amazing, what would help that person, what would be a great pitch to that person.
Yeah.
And in some instances, she's completely, invented an entire concept, built a form of it, probably included visuals and described it in a pitch, sent it across to the right person. And, they're going to be interested when they open it. And then the kind of persistence to keep banging on the door, really, keep speaking.
Find another way, find another route in. Don't take no for an answer. She said sort of having broad shoulders, one no doesn't mean no. I think that's quite a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that I got from Jenna was persistence, the sheer blind faith that she's had to have a vision and then continue to speak to people and try and find routes into the certain accounts that she wanted to, the brands that she wanted to partner with. She's just had so much persistence. It could be so easy, to send an email. And I know it myself. You send an email, you make a phone call, and you might get a no or even a no response. And you kind of feel like that opportunity's dead. But actually, she's gone, no, actually, I think this could be good. Let me speak to someone else. No, again, okay, I think this is good. Let me speak to someone else.
Yeah.
Just constantly going in there to the point when the recipient even joked and said, well, you've been quite persistent here, haven't you? It's just amazing to have that kind of feedback from someone that actually that then, wants to go on and buy your stuff. So persistence for me was the number one, I think, lesson that I've taken from Jenna.
For me, it's sort of like a domino effect of her behavior, listening to her audience then influences the persistence and the direction that she goes. I think the company itself has grown because of its beginnings. Do you know what I mean? Everything the company does then influences the next phase of the company.
Yeah.
And I've watched it grow from when I was at Social Chain. There was this amazing girl that used to come in and do Gypsy Shrine glitter bits and bobs for us. She's actually on a path herself as this amazing makeup artist. But and we were sort of so this is what it is. But it's just sort of phoenixed into something completely so much bigger than it was. So I think, I just really like this sort of domino effect that goes round and round in circles and sort of resets itself. So, all right, we're here. So let's move on to that. Okay, we're here. Let's move on to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just evolved.
Really, really nicely grassroots. And the other thing I really, really feel inspired about is how much control she has. Although she's got a team of 8 now, I still get the feeling that, it's all sort of led from within her brain. I think that you've got to have a real decent level of confidence and, like she said about the importance of the self-belief, I just think it's really admirable, to be honest. I think it's great. Yeah,
it's great. But it's worth mentioning another point that stood out to me is that it wasn't all plain sailing. You look at it and within 3 years, she's turned over a huge amount in front of all these people. all these brands, but there was a point when she started her very first festival and it went wrong.
Yeah.
And she did her second festival and it went wrong. And how many times have we seen that is then the point at which people stop?
Get off the train, yeah.
Yeah. How many times? Like that could have been the stop. That could have been the end point, because do you know what? I've tried it. I've left my job. I've tried 2 things. It didn't work. What was I thinking? All my friends, all my family want me to go back. Her dad was very cautious, you know, a very key influencer in her life, was very cautious by her own admission. She could have stopped. So I just think it's such an important point to pick up on, that actually that persistence again to actually continue through those negative
like
stages.
Having a bit of a cocoon around you of your own sort of self-belief, like just keep going. I really like the sort of the vibrations that she and the company's giving off, because like she said, you know, whatever they do, they think about how they're going to polarize people, whether they're going to love it or hate it, you know, be really outrageous, break the rules. And because that's sort of the ethos with everything that they're doing, that then falls into the buyer of Maybelline. Do you know what I mean? Like, because she leads with a sort of no rules mentality, then that then impacts how the business is growing and impacts how other people. It's a bit like social chain. We don't have any rules, so you don't give us any rules. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
that sort of, which I think is really, really cool. Like, forget what's been done, because we're doing it differently. I really, really like that. And I think, again, it's also a bit of a testament to starting at the age of 23. So I think by what she said, you know, she's done internships in America, she's done this, she's done that, she's got a really good stead and a decent network. However, she's not like bogged down by what's been done and the rules and things like that. I just think really good platform of like, got the network, got some experience, but is almost a little naive to things. So she's like, fuck this, I'm doing that. I just think it's
100%.
really refreshing. And the other thing, sat across, I mean, we've spent an hour and a half with her. What a nice girl, you know, just like no ego, not obnoxious, just sort of, I'm here to tell my story. I just thought it was really refreshing.
Yeah. 100%. So clearly 2 inspired people here.
Right.
Jenna, if you're listening, soak it up. Yeah, no, that was awesome. Really good. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode, because like I said, we have these conversations, and it's what's important to me is like, you know, you can speak to all these people, you can read books, you can hear content of loads of amazing stories, but for me it always comes back to what are the key things that I can take from that, and how can I apply that to my own life. So we just want to share how we're feeling at the moment, and the
conversations that it sort of brings in our own mind, the conversations that happens in our own heads.
Exactly. We'll write out those stuff, because I appreciate that was probably like bombarded with like, and this. So we'll write those down in the show notes. But yeah, an amazing interview. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it now. It's the Gypsy Shrine interview
with Jenna Meek. Jenna, not Gemma. Jenna Meek.
So hope you enjoyed this.